Hello everyone, Burb here. I was off making my CM17 guide when Cygames goes and announces that they are changing the game in a way that changes parent building forever. Alright, not to be too dramatic, they're adding a couple new dirt races, and we did expect this, but to put it bluntly, they're adding a couple new racetracks that we expected in the Copano Rickey banner release. We're getting it a couple days early in July 14th instead of July 16th at the 7 a.m. UTC maintenance. After that, there will be a few new race courses and a few new G1 races to do. What this means for the general population means that your parents that you are most likely borrowing, because the people who are dedicating runs into parent building and are looping those good skills for you, will now have higher affinity, which means it is easier for you to grab those skills from those white sparks because their proc chance is now slightly increased. So it is an overall positive that they are adding this stuff to the game. The other two things that it will increase, that it will change, that we will talk about later, is the dirt track careers are a little bit easier, and some titles have additional requirements to do. So we'll get into all that. That is the announcement. If that's all you really need to do, they basically confirmed something that we thought would happen. And here it is. So what they are changing is they are adding the Kawasaki racecourse, the Funabashi racecourse, and the Morioka racecourse. These three racecourses are all dirt race tracks meant to be added for the Copano Rickey storyline, and it does add a few G1 races. The Kawasaki Kinen, the Zen Nippon Junior Yushin, which I think is the Junior Derby if you in English, the Kashiwa Kinen, the Mile Championship Nambu High, and all of four of these race courses, including Oi, now have additional G2 and G3 races over the course of the career. So especially in junior year, you actually have some options to run some dirt tracks, and you may not have to run as many pre-ops or ops, especially in URA. The tracks that we'll go over are one at a time. Of course, Kawasaki adds a 1400, a 1600, and a 2100 meter. It looks like it's a completely flat track. That's pretty similar to the Oi race course, except it is left-handed instead of right-handed. The Kawasaki 1600 meter track adds the Zen Nippon Junior Yushin. This is a G1 dirt mile that happens on the same turn as Hopeful Stakes. So for your loopers, you are not adding this race to your loop because you are taking the Hopeful Stakes instead, because the Hopeful Stakes is applicable to the turf track runners as well as the dirt track runners, because medium is a lot easier to incorporate into your parents than dirt actually is. The other one that it's added is the 2100 meter. Kawasaki adds the Kawasaki Kinen in early February. This is the turn before the February states. This is the one that is much easier to add out of the two G1s you're adding to your career, because there's nothing happening in late January, and there's also nothing happening after the February stakes in early March. You add this to your career, you go and you match this, and all of a sudden every single match you do is +3 bonus affinity. The Funabashi race course looks fine. There's a 1,000 meter sprint. That's I believe the third 1,000 meter sprint added to the game. The 1,600 mile, the 1,800 mile, and the 2,400 medium, which would be the longest dirt track I believe that we have in the game, is now going to be added into the game. Funabashi has the Kashiwa Kinen, which is a dirt mile that happens on early May, which is on the same turn as the Victoria Mile, so you do not add this to your current G1 schedule for parenting. The Morioka track adds a 1,200 meter sprint, a 1,600 meter dirt, an 1,800 meter dirt, and a 2,000 meter medium mile. The Morioka track does have a G1 in the Mile Championship Nambu High, which does, despite its name, actually happen on a unique turn the early October on both the classic year as well as the senior year. And it's kind of your choice to choose which one it is. This is an addition that is highly suggested. It is much harder to do than the other one, the Kashiwa Kinen. Is that what it is called? It's Kawasaki Kinen. Because unfortunately early October is right in that stretch in fall where you just have a ton of G1s. Now in Track Blazer and stuff, you don't really care too much because you can just use mood items to go and just race 6 or 7 in a row, and then all of a sudden you're back up to great mood. But in Unity, if you're building Unity parents, it's going to be quite difficult to incorporate this. The Ori does get extra dirt G2s and G3 races throughout the career, like I said, and if you want to look at the schedule itself, we'll talk about where to place these races. So before, this was what the ideal schedule was. If you have sprint, medium, mile, long, you go and you race something similar to this. You could swap the races around, but what you want to do is your after schedule is you're adding the Kawasaki Keenan to the early February turn. You're adding the Nambu High most likely to the early October and senior year, but you can do it in early October Classic year. If you're going to do it in early October Classic year, you may want to move the Champions Cup to senior year, or if you're crazy, you can go and race 6 in a row. If you have the Sprinter Stakes as well, the Sprinter Stakes is a very volatile race that you might want to do twice, so you might want to do the Sprinter Stakes in Classic year, which would mean that you would want to do the Nambu High possibly in early October, so that it goes and makes it so you race 5 and then you race 4 rather than having to race 7 races in a row, even in Track Blazer. It's honestly up to you. If you're feeling right, just go and race 7 and see what happens. You're going to take a couple of stat downs, but I think that this is the most prudent places to place these 2 races is in the senior year for both of them. There is an option that the Nambu High could be in early October, so that if you fail it, you go and do it in the senior year as well. A lot of things to consider. The other 2, of course, are at the Hopewell Stakes and the Victoria Mile, so there's not really much reason to go and swap those off unless you are on a pure dirt run. This again for the medium mile, the ones that have medium mile and dirt in their aptitudes. Again, you only need dirt C to parent in all the dirt races because you can just take Excel skills and stuff. This affects them. So Inari 1, Oguri Cap, and El Condorpasa out of the box can run the dirt mile medium schedule, and I believe they can also just run the long schedule as well. Agnes Digital can run everything except for the Arima Keenan and the Tenno Show Spring. I don't think I included the Tenno Show Spring. I didn't, so you should have the Tenno Show Spring in there. Otherwise, Taiki Shuttle needs a bit of medium aptitude to get medium up to B or higher so that you can actually win the medium races. Bamboo Memory, Gold City, and Marzensky need a single dirt in the lineages, which means dirt is now kind of important as a pink spark as you are looking for it. You may have extra value from dirt because that goes and opens your loop from just basically these 4 characters all the way to 7 characters. So Bamboo Memory, Gold City, and Marzensky are good loop targets. You can kind of do Marzensky if you're lucky on Dirt D, although you have to have a very high amount of speed because you're taking a 40% speed penalty from that. Of course, Smart Falcon needs Turf E, but otherwise has everything including long in the kit. If you do all that, you do get an additional plus 12 if you perfectly race match, because your parent will go and match with both grandparents, and then your other parent will match with both grandparents for a total of 3, 6, 9, and 12. Also, Urara's dirt career is better now if you are wanting to do this in URA, where you actually kind of need to run some races. It makes things a lot easier for you because you have some G2s and G3s to do. This also does affect completionist titles. If you're looking to get your completionist title and you're very close to it and you don't want to do any more dirt races, you might want to go and complete that before the 14th, because afterwards you will have to go and include not only all the G1s, but you will also have to include the G2s and the G3s that are added on the various race courses, which may be rather difficult on non-dirt characters. This will not retroactively remove your title, so do not worry about that. If you have a completionist title already, you will continue to remain to have that completionist title. The G1 giant titles also get changed if you haven't completed your G1, G2, G3s. You just have to do and add all the dirt races, which shouldn't be the worst thing in the world. You just run a dirt character, and you can do most of them over the course of a couple of runs. So that's all. Consider this a little bonus video. Like I said, there was news that was released and it happened to be by my computer. I already did a video today, so this does not take up that slot for the thing I wanted to say today. I'm trying to get the CM17 guide, but it is coming out to be a little more complicated than expected because I pretty much have to learn the entirety of Grand Live. And also, I am still working on my other 2 aces, so yes, it's going to be tough getting everything around. So with that out of the way, I hope you enjoyed. This was just a nice little quick update. Thank you for tuning in. Take care, everyone. Good luck on your Champions Meeting 16 burb out.